Now fine, guys.
Fine, Ravi.
Yeah.
Yes, fine.
Okay, so here what I'm taking now, guys, here what you name, right? Username I'm taking varchar. Next we will take what?
Password.
Next we will take what is that? Password, right? So user, I'm taking next one is what? User PWD, right?
Mhm.
User PWD and a varchar, this one
Varchar.
also varchar, and a size I'm taking 70. Why I'm taking the
Yes.
70 now, guys? Why I'm taking the
For the
after
format is long.
after in encoding how much size, right? This much big size is coming, right?
Yes, Ravi.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm taking what is that? Password is what is that? Size is 70.
Seven.
Okay. After then what we need to do? What we need to do? We need to take what is that? Enabled number, right? So user enabled spelling is correct na, guys? Now
Yes, Ravi.
enabled can be 0 or 1, right? Enabled can be 0 or 1. So I'm taking this one as what? Int, right? Int. I'm taking the size is what is that? Enabled size is what? Let's take 1. I'll leave it. Okay,
One.
by default. Yeah, by default that one will take. Okay, so another one is what? Another I'm taking what? Another one is I'm taking user role, right? User role can be varchar, right?
Yes, Ravi.
Sorry, this one, right? Varchar. User role can be varchar.
Varchar.
Size I'm giving 10, right? Size I'm giving 10. Now this is our database. Now create the database, right? So I'm giving the database name as a, what is that? User tab. User tab, right? Now table successfully created, right? Do you want to know? No. Table user tab is created, right? User tab is created. So just normally, guys, whenever we are creating the table, right, in the database, how we are creating now? So I'm giving the based on that what? I'm giving the based on that MySQL database table, right? So what is that? How we can create create table, create a table, user tab, right? User tab. Okay, next what is that? User tab, what is that? Uid int I'm giving, right? Next what is that? Name I'm giving, right? User name I'm giving. Username is what is that? Varchar. What is the size we given? What is the size we given? 20, right?
20, Ravi.
Now
Yes.
user
UPWD.
user pwd, what is that? Varchar.
Varchar 20.
VARCH here.
70. 70.
Varchar
70.
user pwd 70, right? 70. Now next what we given? User enabled, right? Now
Yes, Ravi.
you
You enable. Enabled.
you enabled, right? Now you enabled
Display
is
your
what?
screen.
Int.
Default size integer.
Lacking.
No, it's
No, Ravi.
No, Ravi,
uh
it's fine. For
It's fine.
varchar spelling VARCH here.
oh, oh, oh,
One
oh.
A extra is there.
okay, sir. No,
Yes.
it's okay. Sir.
For both varchars.
Yeah.
We are CH here.
Yeah, correct. Now
For
fine,
ename
right?
also. Yeah,
Fine,
fine,
right?
Ravi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Now it's
So you password is what is that? 70. You enabled int, right? You enabled int, and what is that? User u role I'm taking, what is that? This one also varchar what is that?
10.
I'm taking the size is what? 10,
10.
right? We will use this query, guys, okay? Because of that manually also I'm writing. Otherwise because using graphical user interface, what we are doing there, just directly we are creating now. So copy this one and open the notepad because I will use it, this query now. Now this query at the time of creation that table, whenever we are creating the table, which query? This query only. If we are writing them using console based, then we will use this query only now. Come on people,
Yes, Ravi. Yes, Ravi.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
Ravi.
So second step, what we will do it now? Second step, what we will do it now? We need to insert the data, right? We need to insert the data in this table now. Come on.
Yes, Ravi.
Yes.
So
Yes, Ravi.
how we can
Insert into
yeah,
table name. Insert into table name values.
Insert into table name, column name.
Insert using GUI, Ravi.
no, just actually I want the GUI only. User tab.
View data.
Yeah,
View data.
yeah. View data, right? So here what we will do it now, inside that UID, what we will do it now? Just I'm taking
One.
one, and username, what we will take it now, guys? What we will take it
Sandeep.
now? Come here,
Sandeep.
Sandeep, right? Sandeep.
Sunday.
Okay, so password, what we will take it now? Password, we will take this encrypted formatted.
Sandeep. Okay, encoded. Okay.
Yeah, this one only we will take it, right? And here we will give what? This one we will give as what is that? One only, right? And what is the role now? What is the role now, guys? Admin, na? Come on,
Admin. Yes, Ravi.
admin.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, admin. So that admin we will give, right? Role as a what? Admin. Hey,
Ravi,
Screen is
what is
lagging.
view enabled?
Can't able to view this.
can't able to view the screen means 1 minute, guys.
Screen is
No,
lagging means
My
You did
screen,
not save, Ravi.
my screen is lagging.
yes.
no, it's
No,
clear
Ravi.
for
No, Ravi.
me.
Okay, check your net, internet. Okay, the people is saying that if my side problem is there, please tell me, guys. Okay,
Okay, Ravi.
now copy this one. Now come here. Now Sandeep, right? Save it. Now PWD. What is the PWD now? What is the PWD now? This encrypted data, right? Now come here again, save it. Okay, enabled size I'm giving, what is that? 1. And what is the role now? What is the
Ravi,
role?
what is this?
Sorry,
You enabled, what is this?
Admin.
enable indexes I'm giving, right?
Active or
So
inactive, like
no, that one will check. 0 and 1 means what is that? If 1 is there means data is available, it will check, because it will perform select operation as well as what is that?
Oh, okay, Ravi. Okay, Ravi.
Insert.
Based on this number only.
Yeah, so that one only. So admin, right?
Okay, Ravi.
Admin. So now this one only. So what will be the query now, guys? What will be the query? Insert query. What is the insert query now?
Insert into table name values.
Yes.
User tab.
Insert into
Into
user tab values
in
Values.
values. First, what is that?
Sandeep.
First,
ID.
Sandeep.
Name.
1 minute.
Name, password.
Like this, right? So here what
Yeah.
will be happen
Yes,
now?
Ravi.
Here this one will become
Sandeep.
Sandeep, right? This one will become Sandeep. After then what? Next one will become
Encrypted
Password
password.
and encoded password.
encoded password here. And here what is that? Index is enabled, index is what? 1. And here what is that? Admin.
Admin.
Admin, right?
Yeah.
Yes, right. Semicolon.
Yeah. So this is the first query. Second query is what now, guys? Second also, like here what? Second, next one is what? Manjulata, right? Username will become Manjulata. Password encoded data. This one is only right, Manju.
Yes, right. Change the user ID.
Sorry, user ID. This one is a employee.
Employee.
User ID will be 2, Ravi, this time.
This one enabled.
UID.
No, Ravi,
First
first
one.
one.
User
Yeah,
ID.
yeah, yeah.
UID
Correct,
first
correct,
one.
correct, correct. Second, right? This one will become what? Second. Now another one is what? Last one is this
Pushpendra.
one. So last one is what? Pushpendra, right?
Yes, right.
So
Yes.
what is the encoded data? This one only. Pushpa is a name only small, right? After encoding that, the size will become same only. Yeah. So here, what is that? Student. Student, right? Student. Okay. So this is our,
UID 3.
sorry.
User ID 3.
User
Yeah.
ID.
Yeah, correct, correct. User ID 3 now. Okay. So between this one, let's copy one and paste it here, because here later we can use it also now. So fine now, guys. So now come here again. Here take the user ID is what is that? Second. Next one is what? Manjulata. Paste it. Copy the password. Come here. Paste it. Make this one as a 1. Make this one as a employee. Employee. Third one is what? Pushpendra.
Pushpendra.
Encoded password. This one. Make this one also 1. Student, right? Now our user table is ready. Now save the data. Okay, after saving that, means database setup is done now, guys. So whenever we now our application flow, let's understand, right? Let's understand our what? Application flow, how our application flow functionality will work, right? So yesterday we saw that, right? In that application only we will use what is that? Jdbc. What is that? Authentication. So what is that? Just here what is that? Our database is there, guys. Okay, our database is there. In the database, what is that? One table is there. What is the table name? What is the table name, guys?
User tag.
User
User
tab.
tab.
Yeah, so user tab, right? One table is there. That table name is what? User tab. That table name is what? User tab. User tab, right? User tab. So whenever we are performing the what is that logging activity, just assume that this is the logging form. Yesterday we saw that, right? Logging form. So here what is that? Here username. Here what is that? Password whenever we are putting, and here what is that? Login button is there, right? Login button is there.
Yes.
User
Yes.
pwd and login, right? So login, right? Login. So whenever we are clicking after putting that, just assume that here we are putting Pushpendra or just what is the Sandeep and password also Sandeep only, right? So whenever we are putting and whenever we are clicking on the login button, two query will execute. What is that? Two query will execute, right? First, which query will execute? Which query will execute now, guys? First will execute what is that? First it will check user are exist or not in the database. User is exist or not. So which query will perform? For checking purpose, which query will perform now, guys? Select operation will perform. Our Spring Boot application will perform what is that? Select operation, right? Select operation. So select operation means what is that? It will check what is that? User exist or not. User exist or not, right? If exist, right, means what is that? For that purpose, first what is that? What query will perform? Select username, right? Username, password, right? Password. After then what is that? Enabled or not, right? From what is that? User tab, from user tab, right? User tab. Then what is that? It will check the where condition, where username, right? Username is exist or not, right? Username is exist or not means what is that? Username, right? Username means just what I'm saying now, guys. Here what is that? Means here what? Here just assume that we are putting what is that? Sandeep. Why I'm taking the Sandeep name? Because three people name we took now. Why I'm taking the Sandeep name? Compare to other people name, Sandeep name like characters are less, so and those character can
Second up.
be yeah,
Second up.
will fit in this box. That's why I'm taking the name. Don't think about that. Oh, Ravikant is not taking my name, guys. Okay, everyone priority is the same only here. Okay, so now Sandeep, right? So here Sandeep name I took. So after then what I'm doing now? Password, right? Password is what is that? Sandeep only we took now.
Yes.
Yes.
Sandeep, right?
Sandeep.
Password Sandeep. So whenever we are clicking that, based on that, what will happen now? It will check first. It will perform the select operation. Means what is that? It will select the data, right? Select the record. It will select the record, right? It will select the record from the table, right? From the table. After then what will happen now? It will check this Sandeep and what is that? This username and password is exist in the table or not, right? Come on, guys. People are getting my point, what I'm trying to say now?
Yes, Ravi.
Yes, Ravi.
Right? Means Spring Boot,
Yes.
our Spring Boot application will perform this query, right? This query to fetch the data from the table, and here itself only it will check this username and password is exist or not. If exist, right? If this username and password is exist in the database table, then what will happen? Next query will next condition, what is that? Next query will execute, right? Means what is that? Just what is that? If what is that? If user exist, and what is that? Password, pwd, password matched, right? Yeah, matching. If password is matching, and what is that? Enabled enabled is 1.
1.
One.
If enabled is 1, if this much satisfaction will happen, then what will happen now? Then which query will execute
Log.
now? Then which query will execute? Then read role of what is that user if exist. Then what is that? Then a role will read. Then what is that? That and then will what is that? Read our application means our Spring Boot application will read what is that role. Here what is that? Still role is not just what is that username and password only checking. Come on. But now after
Yes,
then
sir.
what after checking these many things, right? What will happen now? Our application means our Spring Boot application will what is that? Read what is that role, will read role of what is that user if exist, if if exist, right? So for that purpose, what query will perform our Spring Boot application? Our Spring Boot application will perform what is that? Select username and what is that? Role, username and role from what is that? User tab, right? User tab where what is that? Where username equal to user name. User name, this query will perform, two query will perform, right? Two time validation will happen, right? Two time what? Validation will happen, guys. Okay. So means what is that? So whenever we are clicking the login button, right? Two SQL query will execute. What is that? Two SQL are executed, right? Executed by Spring Boot JDBC, right? JDBC on what is that? On submit button, submit login or login submit, right? Whenever we are clicking on the login submit, how many query will execute, guys? Two query will execute, right? Two
2
query.
query will execute.
Yeah.
First query, what the first query is doing now? It's validating user.
Whether user exists.
Validating user. Second query is validating what now, guys? Role, right?
Role. Yes, Ravi.
Second query is validating what is that? Role, guys. Okay. First query will validate what is that? Username and password, and the second query will execute, sorry, validate what is that? Role, right? Come
Second
on.
will validate role.
Role,
Yes.
right? Now okay, good. So a first one is what is the first validate, right? First validate user. First what is that? Validating what is that? User. Second, what validation is happening now? Validate what is the? Validate
Role.
role. Validate role, right? Validate role. These many things is happening now, guys. Okay, these many things is happening now. So now everyone is ready to see the practical now, guys, based on our theory discussion now. Anyone having any doubt in this theory part now, guys?
No, Ravi, you can continue.
No, Ravi.
So if you guys are want, okay, let's take one, let's take again little bit elaboration, right? So what step is happening now? So Spring Boot JDBC, what is that? Security will what is that? Try to execute what? Execute two SQL query, right? SQL query. SQL for what? SQL for user validation. Validation, right? validation, right? Validation. First, what it's doing now, guys? First, what it's doing now? Username and what is that? Password. Username, password, and what is that? Enabled, right? Enable validation. Enable validation, right? What I said now, guys, here what I said now, see this same things, right? Checking user existing or not, means what is that? Username, password, and enable from the user tab only na, come on, that one only, right? User, right?
Yes,
What is,
Ravi.
so here what is the username, password, and enabled validation, right? Two SQL queries performing. First step is what have first query. First time what query is executing? Username, password, and enable validation. After the next, what next one is what happening now? Next what happening now? Username, and what is that?
Role
Username and
validation.
role validation, right? Role validation is
Yeah.
happening now, right? Role validation is happening. So what is the role validation? Sorry, what is the username and password validation? What is the username and password validation now, guys? Username and password, and what is that? Enabled validation means what? Validation is nothing but what is in what happening in this case now? In this case, what is that? First step is happening. What first step? First read, right? First read username, password, and what is that? Entered in the login form, login page, right? Login page, whatever things we are entering in the login page, right? So in the username, password, and enabled validation, in this case what is happening? First reading the username, password entered in the login page. Second step what happening now? Second step is what? Executed or execute, right? Execute what is that? Select select SQL to get what is that? Get user data. Right? User data, like what is that? Which kind of data is getting now? Username, password, and what is that? Enabled. These
Enable validation.
yeah,
Yeah.
enabled validation
Enable.
is getting, right? Enable validation is getting from what? From table, right? From table, based on that, what is that? Based on the login login form username, right? Come on.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Then what is that?
Listening.
Second step is what? What the second step is happening now, guys? Means third step, right? Third step means what is that? If exist, what is that? Encode from password, right? Password, and what is that? Compare what is that? Compare with what is that? With db password. Db password. If match, right? If matching with what? No, if matching, then what is that? Continue, right? Continue, right? Spelling is correct, guys. To next,
Yes.
sorry, next SQL query, right? Next SQL else, what is that? Else go to what is that? Go to login as what? Login as a bad credential. bad credential. Bad credential, right? Means what I'm saying now, whenever we will logged in, right, whenever we are clicking that, if just assume that it's not meaning, just sometime we will put what is that wrong username and password also now. So in this situation, what is that, here we will get what is that message, one message we will get, you are putting wrong valid credential. We are not able to what, we are not able to validate whatever username and password you are putting, right, whatever username and password you are putting. So now if everything, right, if everything is fine, then what is that, it's validating what now guys, what it's validating, rules now, come on. If what, username and what is that, rule validation, right, validation means what, if above, if above, or if like means what, first one I'm talking about, that first SQL query, right, SQL query, right, SQL query is returning what is that, first SQL query, if first SQL query, right, if first SQL query return what, return valid result, then what, then read username and role from what is that, db table using form username as what, input. So now let's develop our application guys. We will see as what, practically, right, we will see the things as a practically. So first what I'm going to do now, let's take one application, right, let's take one application. Now here what we will do it now, file, new, let's take spring starter project. So here what is that, we took in memory now, let's take this one as what, jdbc jdbc example, right, jdbc example, okay, good. Now next, here what, yesterday we took how many dependencies now guys, theme leaf, spring
Leaf and dev tools,
spring dev tools,
Spring
spring
Dev,
wave, spring dev, after then what is that, spring security, right. My voice is breaking guys, because your voice is breaking now, your voice.
Spring security.
dev tools.
uh uh 1 minute guys, okay, 1 minute, where's my phone, because I'm not able to listen your voice guys, okay, some problem is there in the network only. Now still my voice is breaking, friends. Please tell me.
Yeah,
Now okay,
it's
right?
now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so after then what we are going to do now, we are going to perform what is that, database operation na guys, come on. So we need two more
MySQL.
yeah, MySQL driver, we need what is that, MySQL driver. After then one more, what is that, jdbc what, spring data jdbc, or MySQL Oracle driver jdbc, jdbc API SQL driver, okay, we are taking jdbc API spring data jdbc is fine. Which dependency, I'm also a little bit confused. Okay, so do one thing. Okay, web Spring MySQL driver I took, right? MySQL driver I took already. So here, what is that? Using this one, we can able to JDBC
Spring
API.
data JDBC.
Okay, let's take this one only. Okay, next, now finish it. How much time it will take? Yeah. So Spring Security JDBC, right? Okay, good. So now open the property first. Open the property now, guys. So good. So here, what is that? Let's take what is that? Server dot port. I'm taking what is that? Yes, server dot, just I'm taking what is that? 969090, right? Still 1 minute, let's wait it. Yeah, why this one is giving the problem now? Hmm?
4-digit code, right?
Sorry,
Server.port, you take 3-digit now only and port number.
no, that is not. Now see this again, means project creation is not like okay, I'm
Yeah,
deleting.
then
Yeah,
recreate the project again.
yeah, I'm deleting one more time again. I'll create it now. New Spring Starter JDBC only na. Next, Spring Security theme leaf, Spring Data,
Theme leaf form. Dev
Spring
tools.
Dev, MySQL driver, Spring.
Spring web.
Yeah. So Spring Web, theme leaf, Spring Security, MySQL driver, Spring Data JDBC, Spring Boot Dev tool. Okay. Next, finish. Yeah. Now open application property. So here, what is that? Server dot port, right? So 9090. Okay. Next, what we will take it now? Anybody remember that how we are configuring